The massive fleet of the Meridian Alliance hung in Earth's orbit like a blanket of metallic stars. Their ships, smooth and silver, reflected the sun's light with an almost beautiful menace. At the center of this impressive display floated the flagship Starbreaker, where Commander Stone stood watching the blue planet below with his 4 eyes narrowed in concentration. "Report," he commanded, his scaled fingers tapping against the viewing screen. The sound echoed through the quiet bridge. Officer Webb, his second-in-command, stepped forward with a datapad. "Sir, our scans confirm the initial intelligence. The humans keep dangerous beasts in their dwellings. They're everywhere, in their homes, their workplaces, even their medical facilities." Stone's upper eyes blinked in disgust, while his lower pair remained fixed on the planet. "Savages," he muttered. "Show me the footage." The main screen flickered to life, displaying various scenes from Earth. The images showed humans walking alongside 4-legged creatures, sharing their food with smaller furry beings, and even letting these beasts sleep in their beds. Most disturbing of all, human children were seen embracing these creatures, completely defenseless against their sharp teeth and claws. "They're young," Stone said, his voice filled with horror. "They exposed their young to these monsters." He turned to face his crew, his ceremonial armor catching the light. What species would be so foolish as to keep predators as companions? The bridge crew murmured in agreement, their expressions showing a mixture of fear and confusion. They had conquered 12 systems before this, but none had displayed such bizarre behavior. "Commander," Officer Webb interrupted, "there's more. These creatures appear to have different breeds, each specialized for various tasks. Some are clearly designed for combat. Look at these larger ones working with their military forces." The screen showed police dogs training with their handlers, military working dogs performing drills, and search and rescue dogs climbing through rubble. To the aliens, who had never developed such relationships with other species, these scenes looked like evidence of biological warfare. Stone straightened his back, reaching his full height of 8 feet. "This cannot be allowed to continue. These humans are either insane or dangerously clever. Either way, they pose a threat to galactic stability." He paused, considering his next move carefully. "Prepare the bioweapon contingency. If we cannot convince them to destroy these beasts themselves, we will do it for them." As the crew rushed to comply with his orders, Stone received another report. This one made his scales pale slightly. "Sir," a junior officer called out, "we're detecting something unusual. The humans appear to have countless varieties of these creatures. Some are tiny enough to fit in their hands, while others are massive. They keep them in special facilities, in their water bodies, and even in artificial habitats in their dwellings." Stone felt a chill run down his spine. The humans weren't just keeping one type of beast. They had an entire arsenal of different species at their disposal. In his mind, this confirmed his worst fears. This was clearly a warrior race that had spent generations breeding living weapons. "Send the warning," he ordered. "Tell them we know about their beasts. Tell them that if they wish to join the civilized galaxy, these creatures must be eliminated." He turned back to the view of Earth, his expression grim. No species can be trusted that chooses to live alongside monsters. The message was sent, and the fleet moved into attack position. As Stone waited for Earth's response, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was missing something important. Why did the humans in the footage look so happy around these beasts? Why did they treat such dangerous creatures with such obvious affection? He pushed these thoughts aside. He had a mission to complete, and the safety of the galaxy to consider. These humans would learn to live without their beasts, one way or another. Little did Commander Stone know, he was about to learn some very surprising lessons about humanity's best friends. The Unity Council chamber in Geneva fell silent as the alien transmission appeared on the massive screen. Commander Stone's scaled face filled the display, his 4 eyes glowing with what looked like righteous determination. "People of Earth," his voice boomed through the speakers, "we are the Meridian Alliance. We bring order to chaos and civilization to savagery. Your world has been marked as dangerous due to your unnatural practices. The council members looked at each other in confusion. Some reached for their tablets, trying to understand what unnatural practices the alien commander meant. "We know about your beasts," Stone continued, his upper eyes narrowing. "These dangerous creatures you keep in your homes, your streets, and even around your children. This barbaric behavior ends now." Council President Mike Baker leaned forward in his chair, his bushy eyebrows drawn together in complete bewilderment. His old golden retriever, Rex, was probably sleeping under his desk at home right now. What exactly were these aliens talking about? "You have 24 Earth hours to begin the elimination of all beast companions," Stone declared. "Failure to comply will result in our intervention. Choose wisely." The transmission cut off, leaving the chamber in chaos. Voices rose in anger and confusion, some council members already making calls to their military advisors. "Get me Captain Miller," President Baker ordered, his voice cutting through the noise. "If anyone can handle this mess, it's him." Captain Tom Miller was feeding his dog Max when the call came. The experienced Earth Defense Force officer had dealt with dozens of diplomatic crises, but this was different. As he listened to the situation, he couldn't help but scratch Max's ears, the golden retriever's tail thumping happily against the floor. "Let me get this straight, sir," Miller said into his phone. "They want us to get rid of our pets." "That's what they're saying," Baker replied. "They seem to think our animals are some kind of weapons program. We need you to handle the first contact meeting. Make them understand before this turns into a war." Miller looked down at Max, who was now rolling on his back hoping for a belly rub. "Sir, I think I have an idea, but you'll need to trust me on this one." Meanwhile, aboard the Starbreaker, Commander Stone was reviewing more footage of Earth's beasts. His analysts had compiled hours of surveillance, showing humans interacting with these creatures in various settings. "Commander," Officer Webb reported, "we've detected increased military activity around their major cities. They appear to be mobilizing their forces." Stone nodded grimly. "As expected. They won't give up their biological weapons without a fight." He paused the footage on an image of a human child hugging what his database identified as a dog. "What puzzles me is how they've trained their young to be so fearless around these monsters." "Sir," a junior analyst spoke up, "I've been studying their information networks. They have entire channels dedicated to sharing videos of these creatures. They call them cute and adorable." Stone's scales rippled with disgust. "Psychological warfare, clearly. They're trying to make their weapons appear harmless." He straightened his uniform. "Prepare for the diplomatic meeting. When their representative arrives, we'll show them we cannot be fooled by such obvious deception." As preparations began on both sides, neither the humans nor the aliens realized just how much this misunderstanding would change their relationship. Captain Miller spent the evening preparing his presentation, while Max practiced his best tricks for treats. The fate of Earth's beloved pets, and perhaps humanity's place in the galactic community, would depend on a simple demonstration of the true nature of mankind's oldest friends. In his quarters, Commander Stone watched one last piece of footage, a small furry creature chasing a red dot on a wall while a human laughed in the background. He couldn't understand why, but something about the sound of that laughter made him wonder if perhaps there was more to these Earth beasts than his reports suggested. The docking bay of the Starbreaker was filled with armed guards when Captain Miller's shuttle arrived. Commander Stone had ordered triple security. After all, the human might bring one of their deadly beasts with them. He wasn't wrong. "Sir," Officer Webb's voice shook slightly, "our scans detect one of their creatures aboard the human shuttle." Stone's scales darkened with anger. How dare they? This is either a show of force or supreme arrogance. He straightened his ceremonial armor. "Be ready for anything." The shuttle door opened with a soft hiss. Captain Miller stepped out, wearing his formal Earth Defense Force uniform. Behind him, trotting happily on a leash, came Max the golden retriever, his tail wagging. The alien guards raised their weapons. Commander Stone stepped back, his 4 eyes wide with shock. "You dare bring that monster to a peace meeting?" Miller raised his hands calmly. "This is Max. He's my support animal and diplomatic assistant." Max sat down next to him, tongue lolling out in a friendly doggy smile. "He's also my best friend." Best friend. Stone's upper eyes blinked in confusion, while his lower ones stayed fixed on Max. "That beast is your friend. Would you like to meet him?" Miller asked, reaching into his pocket. The guards tensed, but he only pulled out a bag of treats. "Max, show them, shake hands." To the absolute astonishment of every alien present, Max lifted his paw politely. Stone stared at the offered paw as if it might explode. "It's okay," Miller encouraged. "He just wants to say hello." Slowly, watching his guards for any sign this was a trap, Stone reached out one scaled hand. Max's paw gently touched his palm. Then the dog looked up expectantly at Miller. "Good boy," Miller said, giving Max a treat. The dog's tail wagged faster. I don't understand," Stone admitted. "Our intelligence said these were dangerous beasts, living weapons you bred for war." Miller tried not to smile too broadly. "Max, show them, roll over." The mighty beast that had terrified the Meridian Alliance promptly flopped onto his back, wiggled around, and looked hopefully for another treat. Several alien guards lowered their weapons in confusion. "While some dogs help our military and police," Miller explained, rewarding Max with another treat, "they're primarily companions. We domesticated them thousands of years ago. They help us, protect us, and most importantly, they love us." "Love?" Stone's scales shifted to a lighter shade. "You're saying these creatures care for humans?" "Max, play dead," Miller commanded. Max dramatically fell over, making a few junior officers jump. Then he immediately popped back up, tail wagging, ready for his reward. One young alien guard stepped forward hesitantly. "Sir, could I?" "Maybe." Miller nodded encouragingly. "Would you like to pet him?" The guard reached out trembling fingers. Max sniffed them gently, then pushed his head under the alien's hand. The guard's eyes widened as he felt the soft fur. "This is nothing like our reports," Stone muttered, watching as Max charmed his crew. "We were so sure." "Commander," Miller said diplomatically, "I think there's a lot we could learn from each other. Would you like to see more of what Earth's animals are really like?" Stone watched as Max rolled over for belly rubs from 3 of his junior officers, their earlier fear completely forgotten. His most disciplined soldiers were making soft cooing noises at a creature they had minutes ago considered a deadly weapon. "Perhaps," Stone admitted, "our intelligence reports were incomplete." He paused, watching Max perform a perfect sit for another treat. "What other surprises do you humans have?" Miller grinned. "Wait until you see cats. But we might want to work up to that slowly." As the diplomatic meeting moved to the conference room, with Max trotting happily alongside, Commander Stone found himself wondering what other misconceptions his fleet might have about Earth. And why, despite all his military training, he had a strange urge to ask if he could give the beast, no, the dog, a treat himself. 3 days after the first diplomatic meeting, the Starbreaker's research department was in chaos. Not because of any emergency, but because the alien scientists couldn't stop watching videos of Earth's animals. "Commander, you must see this," Officer Webb called out as Stone entered the research bay. "These tiny creatures they call kittens. They chase invisible things and fall over." Stone found his research team clustered around dozens of screens, each showing different Earth pets. His most serious scientists were making strange squeaking noises at videos of puppies learning to howl. "This is highly irregular," Stone muttered, but he couldn't help leaning in to watch a video of a kitten trying to catch his own tail. "Have we learned anything useful?" A scientist jumped up, nearly dropping her data pad in excitement. "Sir, the humans have thousands of different animal companions. Dogs, Cats, birds, fish, hamsters, each with unique traits and purposes. Purposes. Stone's scales shifted with interest. Military purposes. No, sir. Well, not mostly. The scientist pulled up a series of images. Some help with tasks, like dogs that find lost people, cats that catch mice, or birds that talk. But mostly, she paused, seeming embarrassed. Mostly they just make humans happy. In another part of the ship, the junior officers had started a secret video sharing group. They passed around clips of dogs playing in snow, cats knocking things off tables, and parrots dancing to music. "Did you see the one with the dog and the lemon?" one officer whispered during their break. It made the funniest face. "I like the one where the cat sits in the tiny box," another admitted. "How do they fold themselves like that?" Meanwhile, Captain Miller had been invited back for more diplomatic meetings, this time with a different animal companion. He brought Pete, his sister's cat, to demonstrate another type of Earth pet. The proud orange tabby sat regally on the conference table, ignoring everyone except when treats were offered. The aliens were fascinated. "But it doesn't follow commands like Max did," Stone observed, watching Pete knock a pen off the table while maintaining eye contact. "Cats don't really do commands," Miller explained, trying not to laugh as Pete pushed another pen off the edge. "They're more independent. They show affection on their own terms." "And humans accept this?" Stone asked, watching as Pete started batting at his ceremonial armor tassel. "We don't just accept it, we love it. Each pet has its own personality, just like people do." The ship's communication officers reported a strange trend. More and more crew members were requesting access to Earth's internet, specifically to watch animal videos. Some had even started drawing pictures of Earth pets in their free time. Stone found himself spending evenings in his private quarters, watching compilation videos of what humans called funny pet moments. He particularly enjoyed the ones where big dogs were afraid of small cats, or where pets protected their human families. "Sir," Webb reported during a morning briefing, "the crew has submitted 300 requests for permission to visit Earth's surface. They want to see these animals in person." Stone looked at his data pad, which was currently showing a loop of a puppy learning to use stairs. He quickly switched it off. "This is getting out of hand. We came here to..." He couldn't quite remember why they'd come to Earth anymore. Their original mission of saving the galaxy from Earth's beasts seemed ridiculous now. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "we should arrange some cultural exchange visits. For scientific purposes, of course." "Of course, sir," Webb agreed, badly hiding a smile. "Purely for research." Just then, they heard a commotion from the research bay. Someone had discovered videos of baby pandas rolling down hills, and the entire department had dissolved into happy chaos. Stone sighed, but his scales were glowing with amusement. "Schedule a meeting with Captain Miller. I have some questions about something called adoption processes." Commander Stone was watching a video of ducklings following their mother when the alarm blared through the star breaker. He quickly switched off his screen and straightened his uniform. "Report," he commanded, hurrying to the bridge. Officer Webb's scales had turned pale gray, a sign of deep worry. "Sir, we've detected multiple ships entering the solar system. Their energy signatures match the swarm." Stone's 4 eyes widened. The swarm was the galaxy's most feared enemy, a race of insect-like aliens that destroyed everything in their path. They must have followed the Meridian fleet to Earth. "How many ships?" Stone asked, his voice tight. "At least 300, Commander. They're moving fast." On Earth, Captain Miller was at the park with Max when he got the emergency call. "Tom," President Baker's voice was serious, "we're picking up strange readings at the edge of our solar system." "The Meridian fleet?" Miller asked, throwing a ball for Max. "No, something else. Something big. Get to the command center now." Within an hour, the Unity Council chamber was packed. Commander Stone's image filled the main screen, but this time he wasn't making threats. He looked worried. "People of Earth," he said, A great danger approaches. The swarm, the most destructive force in our galaxy, is heading toward your planet. They followed us here." He paused, his scales darkening with shame. "We inadvertently led them to you." President Baker stood up. "What exactly are we dealing with?" "The swarm consumes everything," Stone explained. "They strip planets bare of all resources, including life. They cannot be reasoned with. They cannot be stopped." He stopped as something caught his eye off-screen. A small group of Earth dogs had been brought aboard the Starbreaker as part of the cultural exchange program. One of them, a German shepherd named Buddy, was a retired police dog. As Stone watched, Buddy suddenly stood up, ears forward, nose twitching. "Commander," one of the Earth handlers said, "something's wrong. The dogs are acting strange." All across Earth, similar reports started coming in. Dogs became restless, cats hid under furniture, birds grew quiet, and horses refused to enter their stables. The animals could sense something humans and aliens couldn't. "Sir," Webb reported, "the swarm will reach Mars in 6 hours, Earth in 12. Stone looked at the nervous Earth dogs, then at Captain Miller's image on his screen. "Captain, I notice your animals are reacting to something." Miller nodded. "Animals often sense danger before we do. They can detect earthquakes, storms, and other threats we can't immediately perceive." Stone's scales shifted to a thoughtful blue color. "These instincts, could they be useful?" "More than useful," Miller replied. "Our military and police animals are trained to use these instincts. They can find hidden things, detect unusual substances, and alert us to dangers." For the first time since the alarm sounded, Stone felt a spark of hope. What his fleet had mistaken for weapons might actually be Earth's greatest defense. These animals didn't just make humans happy, they protected them. "We have 6 hours until they reach Mars," Stone announced. "I suggest we put together a joint strategy. Perhaps," he glanced at Buddy, who was still alertly watching the stars, "perhaps Earth's companions will give us an advantage the swarm won't expect." President Baker nodded. "We'll send up our best handlers and their partners. Dogs, cats, birds, any animal that might help." As the emergency meeting continued, Stone found himself watching Buddy. The dog stood guard by the window, focused on the distant threat no one else could see yet. Maybe, Stone thought, this was why humans kept these creatures close. Not as weapons, but as guardians, friends, and partners. The swarm was coming, but they would face something they'd never encountered before: a united force of humans, aliens, and Earth's remarkable animals. The Starbreaker's main hangar had never seen anything like this before. Dogs of all breeds stood with their handlers. Cats watched from their carriers, and birds perched in special cages. Earth's animal teams had arrived to help fight the swarm. Commander Stone walked down the line, studying each animal. He stopped in front of a small brown dog with a bright orange vest. "This one seems very small for battle," he said to Captain Miller. Miller smiled. "That's Pip. She's a search and rescue dog. She can find survivors in collapsed buildings by following their scent. Size doesn't matter. It's their skills that count." Nearby, Webb was getting a demonstration from a cat handler. "Cats can squeeze through tiny spaces," the handler explained. "They can also see in near darkness and hear things we can't." "Fascinating," Webb said, watching the gray cat twist through a narrow training tube. "Perfect for scouting narrow ship's corridors." The swarm had reached Mars. Their ships looked like giant metal insects, breaking apart the red planet's moons for resources. Earth's telescopes showed everything in terrible detail. 6 hours until they reach us," Stone announced to the combined Human-Alien Command Center. "Show me our defense plans." The plan was unlike anything in military history. Search and rescue dogs would help find people in damaged areas. Police dogs would guard important locations. Cats would patrol ship corridors for any swarm that got through. Even birds would help by watching for unusual movement and raising alerts. "But how will we coordinate?" an alien officer asked. We can't speak to these animals. We don't need to, Miller explained. They understand their handlers, and their handlers understand them. Trust in their bond. The first attack came faster than expected. A small group of swarm ships broke from the main fleet, heading straight for Earth's moon base. They're trying to cut off our lunar defenses, Stone growled. Launch fighters. The battle around the moon was fierce. Swarm soldiers, looking like huge metal insects, cut through the base's outer walls. But they weren't prepared for what waited inside. Security dogs led teams through the damaged corridors, sensing where the enemy was hiding. Cats found paths through the ventilation systems, helping evacuate trapped personnel. When the base's lights failed, the animals' natural night vision helped guide everyone to safety. Back on the Starbreaker, Stone watched in amazement. They're not just helping us fight, he realized. They're helping us save lives. Miller nodded. That's what they've always done. Every search dog, every therapy animal, every loyal pet, they're all about protecting and helping others. The main swarm fleet arrived, darkening Earth's skies. But now humans and aliens fought together, with Earth's animals giving them advantages the swarm never expected. Dogs warned of ambushes before they happened. Cats found weak spots in swarm armor. Birds carried messages when communications were jammed. Even hamsters in special carry balls helped by exploring tight spaces in damaged ships. Stone stood on his bridge, watching Earth's animals help save both their world and his forces. A small brown rabbit in a special spacesuit hopped past, helping engineering teams check for radiation leaks. I was so wrong about them, he said to Miller. We thought they were weapons, but they're heroes. Heroes come in all shapes and sizes, Miller replied, scratching Max's ears. The golden retriever was wearing his own special spacesuit, ready to help however he could. As the battle raged on, Stone remembered something the human had told him. Animals don't care what species you are. They only care what's in your heart. Looking at his crew working alongside Earth's remarkable creatures, Stone finally understood. These weren't just pets or tools. They were partners, friends, and now, the galaxy's best hope for survival. The final battle against the swarm lasted 3 days. When it was over, the combined forces of Earth and the Meridian Alliance celebrated their victory in ways nobody could have predicted a week ago. On the Starbreaker's observation deck, Commander Stone watched as his crew members played fetch with Earth dogs. In the corner, Officer Webb was trying to convince a cat to chase a laser pointer, while several junior officers recorded videos on their devices. Quite a change from when we first arrived, Captain Miller said, walking up beside him. Max trotted along happily, wearing a small medal the aliens had made specially for the Earth animals who helped in the battle. Stone's scales shifted to a warm golden color, a sign of contentment. To think we almost started a war over these wonderful creatures. The victory celebration was unlike any other in galactic history. In the Great Hall of the Unity Council, dogs, cats, and other animals mingled freely with humans and aliens. A parrot kept mimicking the sound of the victory bells, making everyone laugh. Commander, President Baker called out, "The Alliance Council is ready for your report. Will you tell them about Earth's secret weapons?" His eyes twinkled with amusement. Stone straightened his uniform, now slightly covered in cat hair. "I will tell them the truth. Earth doesn't have secret weapons. They have something far more valuable. They have friends." The report to the Alliance Council was transmitted across the galaxy. Stone stood proudly, with Max sitting calmly beside him. The old commander had specifically requested the dog's presence for this important moment. "Honored Council," Stone began, "I came to Earth believing its animals were a threat to galactic peace. I was wrong. Without these remarkable creatures, we might have lost everything to the swarm." He played videos showing how Earth's animals had helped during the battle. Search and rescue dogs finding survivors in damaged ships, cats guiding evacuation teams through dark corridors, birds carrying messages through electromagnetic interference, and even small hamsters helping engineering teams reach tight spaces. But most importantly, Stone continued, scratching Max behind the ears. They showed us something we had forgotten in our rush to conquer and control. They showed us the power of friendship, loyalty, and trust. The council was silent for a moment. Then one of the eldest members spoke. "What do you suggest we do about Earth and its companions?" Stone smiled. "I suggest we learn from them. Earth will be joining the Alliance not as a conquered world, but as a full partner. And," he paused, his scales glowing with excitement, "I request permission to establish the first intergalactic pet adoption program." The proposal passed unanimously. Within months, specially trained Earth animals began helping on alien worlds. Search and rescue dogs joined emergency teams on space stations. Therapy animals helped heal the wounds of war. Cats kept ships free of pests that could damage sensitive equipment. But the biggest change was in the Meridian Alliance itself. Stone walked through his ship, now equipped with pet beds and play areas. His own quarters had a special corner where his newly adopted puppy, Star, was learning to play fetch. "Sir," Webb reported, trying to hide a smile, "the crew's efficiency has improved by 30% since we installed the ship's cat cafe." "Noted," Stone replied, watching as Star chased her tail. "Send the data to Alliance Command. And add my personal observation that a ship without pets is like a galaxy without stars." In his private log that night, Stone made his final entry about Earth. "We came here to eliminate what we thought were weapons, but found friends instead. The humans were never the ones who needed to change. We were. And thanks to their wonderful animals, we did." As if agreeing, Star jumped into his lap, tail wagging. The mighty commander of the Meridian fleet, once terrified of Earth's beasts, simply smiled and reached for the treat bag. Some changes, he decided, were definitely for the better.